Hey there guys, so for the last while I've had a bunch of people ask me how my pie menu works or how to even create one. So to give you an example of how that works for those that don't know, if I press my hotkey to invoke my pie menu, I'll have something like this. And then if I go to up, a level, I can get there via a few ways. I can left click or I can basically let go of a key. Because right now I'm pressing two keys, I'm pressing like Control Tab, right? So if I just press Control Tab, but then I let go of Tab, then I'll get to automatically to the second level. And so I have a bunch of tools. But it's not just pie menus within pie menus, it's more than that. So if I now go to, like, for example, create, right, I can have a menu like this. Or I can do something like that, where now I have Seneca Menard's Boolean script. So I have all sorts of things like that within these menus. It's a bunch of tools, it's a bunch of scripts, it's a bunch of other menus and pop-ups and things like that. So how do we make that? Well, first of all, you're going to want to go into the system and you're going to want to go into the form editor. And once you have this form editor, you're going to want to expand the forms. And then finally, at the very bottom, you can create a new form, or you can just go and create a new form from here. So let's just say if I do a new pie template and mktest2, because I've already tried to making one of these videos, but it didn't go very well. So mktest2. So as you can see, there's another mktest. So I'm just going to minimize that and I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, so we have a template for a pie menu, but right now, if I were to test this, right, so as long as I have this selected, mktest_2, if I go into preview form, it'll show me the menu, but right now there's nothing in it. So even if I press this button, I'm basically going to see nothing. So in order for me to see anything, I have to fill this command right here. Any one of them. It doesn't matter if I fill all of them or just one. Makes no difference. So let's fill it up. The way to fill it up, usually the best way I find, is to go into one of these toolbars, find a tool that you like or a script that you like. And once you do that, then under this section here, over at the bottom right corner of your screen, if you just hover over here, and as long as you see those two arrows pop up, the up and down, if you left click and drag up, you'll have basically the command history, undos. And so because I clicked the cube tool, then under the command history at the very bottom, you should see cube primitive. And basically what this is it's telling, it's a tool that will eventually start the process of you creating a primitive. So it doesn't actually create it, it just sets you on that path. And once you click on it, it'll change, like this input here will actually display the tool code. So I can take this, I can press Control C, and then I can paste it into the form. So under the form editor, under my mkpie, I'm going to select the unknown command. Right now it's empty. So I want to fill it with a command. So I'm going to go into the command here, over here, and press Control V, and then press Enter. And the first thing you'll see is that right now, if I go back to here, it'll say, now it doesn't say unknown command anymore. Now it says cube primitive, and there's a green line. This means that it worked. Okay, so we have this, but if we go over now, first of all, if you press preview form, you'll see something like this, okay? And you'll see set tool. Set tool is not correct though, so what we have to do is we have to actually name it. So let's just name it cube, like that. But now, if you want to display an icon, because right now it's just displaying the text, I don't actually have an option to display it here. You can change the icon, to whatever you want, but to actually be able to display icons overall in that pie menu, you have to go up to the actual pie menu itself, the top form that defines the pie menu. So mktest_2 is where you would set that option. So under here, if you select it, you're going to have under form properties, you're going to have icon mode, and right now it's set to text only. I'm going to want to change it to text and icons, and maybe large icons. And now, if I click on preview form, you'll see that there is in fact an icon, and it says cube, and it's a large icon. Awesome. So right now we only have one tool, so let's just very quickly populate it with a few more tools. So sphere, again, go to the bottom in your command history, Control C, Command Control V, Enter, name it sphere. And now select the other command. So now I'm going to go into cylinder. Again, select the cylinder, Control C, Control V, Enter. Cylinder, Enter. Cone, select Control C, and you have to select, and again, unknown command. So command, Enter, name it cone. Okay, so now we have a bunch of tools. And if I go back to the mktest2 and I go to preview form, you'll see now that I have 4 tools. If you, let's just say if you don't want 8 tools, maybe you just want 4. If you want to space them apart evenly, then what you would have to do is take some of these unknown commands and place them in between, because basically this is going to be kind of acting like a spacing, like a spacer. So now if I go to mktest2, you'll see something like that. So now I have 4 tools. So if I want to now, let's just say if I was done with this and I want to use it as is, and maybe in the future I want to update it, in order for me to use it without having to always press the preview form, I would have to select this form and right click and then basically go to assign to key. In my case, I'm going to press Alt M or something like that. It's a stupid hotkey, but you know, I have my keys already mapped out. I don't want to ruin them, and I'm not really using anything useful for that one. So I'm going to press OK, and now that's fine. I'm going to minimize that for now. And so let's use it. Let's try it out. So if I go into Alt M, I'm going to get this. I'm going to enter a cube, and as you can see, I can create a cube now. If I press that hotkey again, I can now make a sphere, and as you can see, I made a sphere. So it works. This is awesome. So what to do next? Well, if you want to have multi-layered pie menus, then instead of filling the command, now you want to add another control, right? So if you open this up, right, you'll see that this line basically has da-da-da-da-da-da, and its hierarchy has a bunch of commands, and at the very bottom here it says new control. So let's add something in there. So now I'm going to add another pie menu. Okay, so another add pie sub or template subform. So I'm going to do that, and then mktest3, and that's going to basically give me this. But if you'll notice, if I collapse the mktest2, this actually doesn't exist within a sub-level of mktest2. So I have to drag the mktest3, and I just have to drag it somewhere in here. Let's just say drag it in there. And I'm going to get rid of this unknown command from there. I'm just going to drag it to the bottom. And now I have one pie menu, I have a bunch of tools, and I also have within this hierarchy mktest3. So if I select the mktest2, preview form, you'll see that I have in fact another menu, but it's empty, so I have to populate it. So I'm going to go into the pie menu or mktest3. I'm going to select any one of these, and I'm going to start adding more tools. So let's just say if I do a bridge, and again I'm going to start just basically pasting in commands, enter, name it something, and then maybe clone. Clone's a good one. So set clone on, that's fine. So set command, enter, clone, not clone, clone. Okay. Maybe I want to do a mirror. Mirror is another good one. So I'm going to go again into unknown command, go into the command history, and then set tool to mirror on, right? Type in the command history and then name it mirror, enter. And we need one more. So let's just say we choose radial array. So I'm going to choose that one. Command enter. Radial array. Okay, if I go back to mktest2 and I click preview form, you'll see that I have again the tools, and if I press and click on that, you'll see this. So again, you can choose how the tools are actually displayed, however you want. Again, I might want to go into mktest3, maybe give it small icons, but maybe I want icons only, or text and icons, whatever I want, right? But so let's just say if I test this, I have a bunch of large icons, I have one without, and then I basically have this where it's only icons. So again, you can change it to however it is that you want it to work. But again, you don't need to make it only pie menus, right? I mean, you could make it whatever you want. So if I go back into under the mktest2, if I just follow this line and I go to this new control, let's just say if I add a subform instead of a pie menu, and okay, test 4 this time, and I'm going to drop it into there somewhere and remove the unknown command. So now I have the mktest4, and you know what, maybe this time I'll want to add some deform tools or something like that. So under this one, right now I have new control. I don't want that, I just want basically new commands. so I can choose what it is that I want, right? So if I click on this, I can choose add command. Okay, so I have the enter command tool on, and right now it's asking me to add bend. Okay, that's cool. I can just basically click on that and just type in bend. Now the cool thing about the way we're working with forms instead of menus is that if I now go to twist, new control, add command, well, I was actually kind of hoping that it would work that way because it did that for that one. Okay, whatever. So now, again, click on twist, select the, where is it? Okay, so twist, control C. So again, when you're going to be clicking on the add command, now I'm just basically going to do that, click OK. Now I have bend, twist, again, name it twist. So select the tool first, let's just say I do push. Select the command first, control C, go to another new control, add command, push, okay, name it push. So yeah, I mean the cool thing now is that if I go into mktest2, I preview the form, I now have mktest3, which is another pie menu, or I have mktest, which is a set of buttons. And again, you can change that, right? So if I go back into mktest4, I can change it. So let's just say I want to change this from like properties. Maybe I want it to be a toolbar, vertical. You know, I can change it again to whatever it is that I want. Right, so let's just say I go back here and let's try it out. Now you have something like this. Okay, so again, play around, and I think you'll have a lot of fun, because I mean, it really is a lot of fun. And you have a whole bunch of options here, so I'll pop over form, for example, right? So again, click on that. Now you have a, well, wait, what was that? Wait a minute. It was supposed to be a pop over form. Let's see what that one does. So this will look like that. It's always the same. What the hell? All right, well, let's make it properties. Okay, so now you have something like that. Again, you can change it to whatever you want, right? To something like that. And again, see how it's right now, it's like they're all connected. Yeah, that's cool, right? That has everything to do with the subcontrols or something. I don't remember, honestly. Last time I did this, it was in Modo 3 or like 3.02 or 3.03 or something like that, or maybe even version 4. And I've kept my config the entire time. So like this entire menu that you see here, I haven't changed it. I haven't changed it in all these years. And I mean, it's been quite a few years now. It's been like I basically made all of my configs in 2008 or 2007 even, and I haven't changed them since. Like they keep working, which is great. But the other thing I should also mention is that whenever you want to do some kind of workflow enhancements instead of Modo, one thing that I would actually recommend for you guys to learn or find out how to do is do something like this, where you have a single hotkey and you turn it into a modifier. And the reason why is because right now a lot of people will just do like single hotkeys, right? So like I can press W for transform, E for rotate, and R for scale, you know, something like that. But the way I do it is, I mean, E is still rotate for me, right? But if I click on, let's just say these two polygons here, I can press E and right click and have a bridge tool. Or I can do something like select a whole bunch of these and press E and left click instead of right click, and now I have a bevel tool. So I have a whole bunch of hotkeys sitting basically on one, right? So I press E and then either left click, middle click, or right click, and I get 3 different tools. The other cool thing that I've done is Control Shift, and the way I use that. So basically, the reason why is because I want some tools to land on top of the Control Shift, and I want my most common tools to be on those tools, the Shift, Control, and Alt keys. And the reason why is because I'm navigating anyways, right? So I'm always pressing Alt no matter what I do, and I'm always selecting things, right? So I might be like right-clicking, I might be Shift, pressing Shift to add selection, I might be pressing Control to you know, take away. So I'm always on the Shift, Control, and Alt keys anyways. So one way to speed up working with any kind of modeler is to add some tools on top of those hotkeys in particular, because your hand is already there. So I mean, and ZBrush actually does this great, right? Because I mean, you're always like, isolating parts, and you're masking, and you're subtracting masks and doing things like that, you're always using the Control, Shift, and Alt keys. So if I press Control and Shift in my case and left click, I'll now be splitting and stuff, right? So I can do stuff like that. But if let's just say if I do something like that, if I select a bunch of edges here and I Control, Shift, and right click instead of left click, I now split loop, right? So this really makes things so much faster to work, because now what I do is I have my most common tools instead of the Control, Shift, Alt. Then I have my secondary tools under the E key, for example, right? So I can do something like that, where I can bevel very quickly, right? Or I can bridge again. But my third line of tools is basically all inside of this pie menu. So the pie menu, I don't use it as often as my primary or secondary tools, but my tertiary tools are all in here. Now, as far as the hotkeys, how do you make all that? Honestly, I don't remember. I'll have to probably make another video about this because it's been so long. But again, this video was mostly a focus on the form editor and how to make the the different pie menus. So I hope that helps. Yeah, cheers. And before I forget, the most important part at the end of the day, when you're done with this, if you want to save all this, what you have to do is there's two ways. One, you can go to, for example, this mktest2, and you can save the form to an external file, which I recommend, because if your main configuration for Modo becomes corrupt, then you cannot use this setup anymore, right? It's going to be gone if you blow it away. The other thing is if you upgrade your Modo version, then you'll have this form for later use. So you'll be able to then plug it into your new Modo version. So always save forms into separate files. I find that that's the best thing you could do. But if you just want to initially save this form without doing that, what I would actually recommend is to go into File, Save Config, and that's going to, as you can see, all the stars are gone. And now, when I just press Alt-M, it'll be there. The other thing I recommend is just to close down Modo and restart it. Oftentimes, Modo will save the configuration when you close Modo. So it's just generally good to close it down properly without crashing it, because when you crash, you're going to lose all your changes that you've done to the interface or to anything else. So yeah, that's it. See ya. Bye.